Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Insights and Innovation series for this wonderful Monday. Today we have our very good friends and partners at Crimtan, supporters of the independent sector, supporters of us, and supporters of you guys that keep the lights of the IMAA running. And we've got our good friend Karim, who's going to be presenting. He's going to be talking about first-party data and dynamic creative and navigating the cookieless future. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Karim, who's the sales director over there and one of the greatest human beings I've ever met, and a good Shire man as well. And I'll hand over to you, sir.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for the friendly introduction, and thanks for the IMAA team for organising this. Thanks for everyone for joining as well. I'm really looking forward to spending the next half hour or so going through a number of interesting topics, some that have probably been spoken about in the past, but hopefully with a little bit of a new spin to it. Just to introduce myself, my name is Karim. I'm the sales director at Crimtan. For those who don't know much about Crimtan, I'll just give you a bit of context regarding what direction the presentation will come from. In short, Crimtan's a programmatic tech company that works with a large number of indie agencies across the programmatic space, specifically for agencies who have in-house programmatic capabilities. We'll use them, they'll use us for predominantly dynamic creative campaigns, predominantly across display. But for those agencies who don't have any programmatic capabilities, they'll use us as an end-to-end programmatic partner, which is great because we then plan and buy across the entire digital ecosystem. In case you're not familiar with dynamic creative as a concept, it's simply the ability to change creatives on the fly based on a number of different dynamic elements. And I promise that that's the last of the elevator pitch. But today's session will centre on navigating Australia's cookieless future by ensuring advertisers are maximising the ability to combine quality first-party data and dynamic creative. In terms of what we'll talk about today, a bit of an agenda slide here, but in short, we'll touch upon the modern challenges for agencies and advertisers in today's landscape. We'll then move on to discuss the significance of data visibility and the role quality data plays in today's world. We'll then go on to explore whether having good data is enough for success. And lastly, we'll look at how good data can feed into dynamic creative strategy to enhance the customer journey. And if we have time, we can tackle some questions if anyone has any. In terms of the key challenges for today's agencies, from the conversations we've had with many agency partners, we've split out these challenges into four main areas. The first being that major platforms like Google and Meta are tightening their control off and access to user data, creating walled gardens that hinder not only cross-channel targeting, but also cross-platform attribution and reporting. The second is that Australian privacy principles have made outdated consent management and tracking methods redundant, requiring new approaches that prioritise user data security and privacy. The third challenge is that tightening privacy regulations have restricted not only how data partnerships match user IDs between data providers and media platforms, but also restrict how to scale using lookalike audiences based on first-party customer data. This is leading again to more fragmentation in media optimization and cross-channel targeting. Lastly, multi-touch attribution, for example, post-impression measurement, has been dwindling for a while now, and as the cookie finally sunsets, you'll need some method to indicate ad and campaign effectiveness. These factors collectively create fragmented advertising ecosystems, making it challenging for anyone to maintain cohesive data-driven strategies across all touchpoints. Adapting to this landscape requires innovative, privacy-focused solutions that still allow brands to engage meaningfully with their audiences. So when looking at data, good data is now less abundant. 50% of the online population at the minimum is cookieless. Safari and other browsers equate to around 50% of unmeasurable audiences. Apple users are said to be the most valuable and wealthiest consumers, primed for programmatic targeting, but due to the cookie restrictions on their device, third parties can't track them, and attribution becomes murky, expensive, and intensive. You can see Apple's market share across desktop and mobile. It's quite significant, so the inability to target and track them effectively is actually playing havoc on attribution and limits the ability to drive incremental growth. We're actually having situations with clients where we've been asked to turn off Safari targeting in general, just so they can have more insight on targeting and attribution. The question that rises here is that, are you neglecting half your potential customers by not actually advertising to them? So Google announced recently that they're not replacing cookies with Privacy Sandbox, and the cookies will continue on Chrome. However, they've also announced that they are launching a new privacy opt-out feature to users, probably sometime in Q1, Q2 next year, which will reduce the number of trackable audiences. They haven't told us how this new feature will work or its expected impact on the opt-out rate, but we do know that when Apple launched ATT back in 2020, 60% of people opt out. Therefore, we can anticipate most advertisers using CM360 will end up having to adopt Sandbox within their advertising strategy in some capacity. Privacy Sandbox introduces significant changes to the ability to run effective digital advertising campaigns. As customers demand a better experience and more personalization, Sandbox could have an effect across the entire media plan and affect brands' own customer channels. The key change is that you won't be able to actually target individuals, even for retargeting. You'll need to group users by segments for targeting and measurement. This actually creates several challenges. The first being, you won't be able to frequency cap by each user, only by the whole segment. This could lead to significant inefficiencies in both prospecting and retargeting. Secondly, you won't know which individual users from the segments are converting. Google plans to completely obfuscate individual conversion tracking in CM360 and DV360. They'll be adding in noise to their conversion reports to aggregate the data, and they are removing criteria like timestamps and conversion IDs, so you won't be able to compare conversion data to other reporting platforms. Thirdly, this will also have an impact on deduplication of conversions by channel, which means you're going to need to create a new measurement framework to understand what's driving performance. Lastly, personalization based on user intent is now based on the group intent, so you're going to need to balance precision with addressability when you set up your audience segments, which compared to today will add extra work to both campaign setup and management to get the results you need to optimize performance. Based on the last two slides, 10 years ago using cookies, our visibility was extremely high. With the tech and regulatory changes over the years, our visibility is now approximately at 50%. This means that brands and agencies can only target and measure 50% of conversions across the customer journey, which is a significant blind spot compared to where we used to be. The question we need to answer regarding this is, why is this actually happening? There are three main factors driving this change. The first being that it's consumer driven. By people becoming more savvy and wanting to control their data, the visibility has shrunk. Second being legislation. Legislation is changing to further push this agenda and drive privacy. GDPR, globally and more locally, the Australian privacy principles are creating further tightening around privacy for advertisers. The third factor is that technology companies are coming to the table to make their platforms more privacy centric. With someone like Apple, they went all in on privacy and made it their USP and value driver. So marketing without data is like driving with your eyes closed. Without data, you can't target and you can't personalize. You can't measure success. Most agencies and advertisers are well on their journey ensuring that they are set up for a cookieless future. Many have first-party data strategies and have shifted their focus on ensuring that they are first-party data first. Some are still early on their journey, but it's safe to say that many of you will always prioritize first-party data if it's readily available by the advertiser. Given there is an abundance of data out there, we need to clearly understand what is good data and how do you use it. So first-party data is defined as consented user information collected directly from advertiser and publisher platforms. By using first-party data, we can drive programmatic performance by a number of ways. First, we can boost accuracy by targeting with deterministic and probabilistic signals. Secondly, we can scale audiences by expanding reach without losing relevance or personalization. The third, we can act smarter through cross-channel consistency under the new privacy legislation compliance. So Active ID is our cookieless ID solution in market, and it's used to complement other ID solutions in market. There are a lot of good standalone ID solutions like Trade Desk's UID 2.0, but many are struggling to scale effectively under continued regulatory pressure. For example, we see LiveRamp working really well in the US, but not being as effective in other regions. We continue to integrate with other ID solutions in market to enable advertisers to operate in this new landscape at a global level without having to swap in and out technologies depending on the region. Trying to optimize your campaigns by optimizing your technology is a slow to market process and very expensive way to optimize performance. We instead believe your technology is the foundational layer for your operations and should provide the tools for your campaigns teams to optimize over the top of it, not in it. Therefore, Active ID for us acts as a data management solution that runs across all programmatic channels. It's a pedigree cookieless solution that was launched over 10 years ago before GDPR and has been the backbone of our business over the years. Active ID uses a mix of both probabilistic and deterministic signals, which then attaches a unique ID to each user. It's always on, fully transparent, and complies with privacy legislation and is privacy sandbox ready. It also allows us to map out advertisers' websites and build out first-party data segments based on a large array of data trigger points on the advertiser's page. Some example segments we're able to build based on website engagement include new, converting, and current customer segments, top selling products, most searched products, top indexing geos, and any other data point within the data layer. You might already be working with ad tech partners or advertisers who are integrating their first-party data into your campaigns. If you are, great. If you aren't, it may be worth looking into. Here are some examples of some high-quality first-party data sources that can help with enhancing reach, precision, and targeting using immediate interest, cross-channel targeting, and real-time personalization. The importance of advertisers to build out these first-party data capabilities is paramount now more than ever. There's an abundance of quality first-party data out there, but you need a platform to ingest it, make sense of it, and activate it to help boost the performance of your campaign. One partner I'll be talking about in my examples is Rome to Rio. Crimtan has partnered with Rome to Rio to create scalable cookieless first-party audiences across the open web. We use Active ID to help facilitate this. For those who aren't familiar with Rome to Rio, it's basically a trusted global travel planning tool with over 40 million unique visitors across the month. Rome to Rio searches any city, town, landmark, attraction, or address across the globe with thousands of multimodal routes to easily get you from A to B. But based on our exclusive partnership with them, we can actually see 1.2 million unique Australian visitors searching for travel, both domestically and internationally. This type of data is a goldmine for advertisers who are looking to target travelers, whether it be airlines, hotels, hire cars, insurance, tourism bodies, or retail. But what happens when you get this quality data or create all these unique audiences? The questions we should be asking are you actually wasting high quality data on impressions with generic creatives? Or how could this data be stronger and more relevant to the consumer? And third, what options are available for testing and learning? You can see a number of first-party data signals that can help supercharge customer acquisition when it comes to travel. Just looking at some of the data signals we can pick up from Rome to Rio, you've got in-market by region or location, leisure versus business travel, in-market by price, in-market by activity, budget versus premium, traveler window, and original destination. How are advertisers actually making the most of all these data segments? It is up to agencies to couple the data with clear and strategic creative strategy. In this instance, a dynamic creative strategy to ensure personalization based on these dynamic elements is paramount, whether it be destination, price, travel, window, activities, or type of holiday. Taking a side step here, once you create all these unique data segments, it can't be the end of strategic thinking. Data is not everything. If you don't have great creative fueled by this data, you are missing out on an added layer of personalization that can take your programmatic campaigns to another level. Dynamic creative in its simplest form is the ability to change creatives on the fly based on a number of different dynamic elements, whether it be first-party data segments, similar to the Rome to Rio example, geolocation, weather, time of day, or where the customer fits within the customer lifecycle, the ability to change creative dynamically based on these data trigger points in an automated and efficient manner will increase personalization and give you every chance to maximize ROI. Great data needs great creative to succeed. You're doing a disservice if you're neglecting a clever creative strategy to ensure that the ads are reflecting the user's intent rather than showing them any generic ad. In this example, Emirates Holidays has used first-party data segments based on travel intent. In this situation, travel data can generate creative that highlights hotels nearby, destinations, or local experiences based on the user's activity. This will change dynamically based on where the customer is looking to travel or when the customer is looking to travel. In this case, the customer has specified their interest in going on a beach-inspired Dubai trip. It has also used data from the Active ID website pixel, which was based off website engagement with a specific hotel, allowing us to retarget with offers from this hotel. Through the DCO technology, the creative will change on the fly. The message will be tailored, the creative image will be personalized, as well as the offers based on using the insight from the first-party data. This will lead to a much higher engagement and ROI. Using good data and dynamic creative isn't just limited to travel. It works across all industries throughout the customer lifecycle. We can use Active ID data from website activity to bucket customers on whether they are new, converting, or current customers. In this auto example for Porsche, auto intent data is feeding into the dynamic creative, serving the specific car model that you have interacted with on the website. Rather than serving generic remarketing messaging, the Active ID pixel has mapped out audiences based on new audiences, top level, category, product audiences, and depending on whether someone is within the customer lifecycle, they are getting super personalized ads. When looking at the entire customer lifecycle, you should be using data across each stage. Looking at this example, we can see during the branding and awareness stage, data signals for travel intent to serve generic upper funnel messaging. Once we know who the user is, we're able to change creatives based on travel intent and persona data. For example, being interested in a family holiday. As we look to retarget, we'll use first-party website data captured by Active ID to retarget based on deterministic signals. For example, searching for flights to New York. Using CRM data, we're able to identify a user is a customer, so the message will change to focus on cross-sell and upsell opportunities. Now, just jumping onto a case study that we recently launched, one for the Department of Culture and Tourism in Abu Dhabi, and it's responsible for promoting Abu Dhabi as a destination and attracting visitors. Their goal was actually to increase awareness of Abu Dhabi as a tourism destination in the UK and Germany across 6 main travel audiences. Our challenge was to create ads that successfully delivered relevant key messages based on first-party travel data. Using our creative intelligence, we actually created over 5,400 ad creatives in UK and Germany across 6 main audience segments. We also use first-party data to serve relevant location and hotel messaging based on the data trigger points for travel intent. But just to increase relevance, we also highlighted the difference in weather between the 6 targeted cities and Abu Dhabi. We used an API that would show a live weather report for Abu Dhabi, and the results were staggering as we beat the engagement benchmark by over 400%. Trip bookings were 34% longer and hotel stayed increased by 35%. It just showcases the combination of good data and super personalized dynamic creative was very effective in this instance. And that's kind of it in terms of the key takeaways. I just want to leave you with 3 main takeaways. The first is that, developments by both government and ad industry will continue to preserve privacy online. So, Cookieless, although we have been speaking about it forever, is now the present and the future when it comes to programmatic ads. The second, walled gardens are rich with data, but since it's their digital currency with advertisers, they won't be giving it away anytime soon, which means that advertising agencies will have to look elsewhere to retain a competitive advantage. So building a first-party data strategy with advertisers is a must. And the third and last key takeaway is that, having good data is not enough these days. Got to make sure that using the data to inform your creative strategy is certainly a must and a great way to increase personalization and generate greater ROI. And that's basically it, guys. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take them now. I can take them offline, and I can also send through the deck I ran through for anyone interested.
Yeah, I think we'll share the deck with everyone. Or if anyone's got any questions, speak up now, or we can connect you with Karim later on today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Karim, thank you so much for that. Really, really interesting stuff, and you guys are doing some great work over there. Thank you, Crimtan, for your ongoing support of the media sector again, and keeping the indies running. So thank you very much. You guys are great partners. Members, thank you guys for tuning in. Just a reminder, Brisbane, 3 big things happening up there soon. So watch out for that. Sydney, the awards coming up, and everyone, please fill in the pulse survey. It saves me calling you this afternoon and annoying you to do so. So please get your staff to fill that in. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.